Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Chef Marie. Today I'll be doing my most anticipated releases for April, May, and June. So this time around, I decided to narrow it down. I feel like the last time I made a video for January, February, and March, I included a ton of books for each month, but this time I wanted to just narrow down to my most anticipated releases, and I cannot wait to share these books with you guys. So let's first start off with April. I have everything chronologically ordered in terms of release date, and for April, I only have 4 books that I am super hyped up for. The first one is The Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth, and this book comes out on April 7th, and I am just super curious about this book. I believe this is her first adult fantasy book. It follows 5 teenagers who were somehow chosen to fulfill some sort of prophecy or destiny, and this book takes place 10 years later after they have fulfilled already their destiny, everything, when they defeated the evil one or the dark one, etc. And so this book really takes place 10 years after that and kind of talks about what happens when you fulfill your destiny and the aftermath of it all. And it just sounds so intriguing because most books are usually about what happened before they actually fulfill their destiny, but this book takes place years later, like a decade later, and talk about what happens after. So I just feel like the concept of this book just sounds super intriguing, and I definitely cannot wait to read this. Then next up we have Ruthless Gods by Emily A. Duncan. This one's also out on April 7th, and this one I am just so excited for because this book obviously is a sequel to Wicked Saints. It follows 3 characters, and there's all about blood magic, god magic, as well as a war between these 2 countries. And that first book was so fantastic, and I cannot wait to find out more about this one. And of course it follows the same 3 characters, and it was just so good, guys. So I'm really excited for this one. Then next up we have something that is very different, and that is The Best Laid Plans by Cameron Lund. This one's also out on April 7th. This is a very cute YA rom-com kind of book where it follows these best friends, where one of them finds a guy that is way out of her league, and she decides to ask her best friend to kind of help her and teach her some stuff because she is so inexperienced, and she's afraid that being so inexperienced will lose that really hot guy. So she asks her best friend, and of course this book just follows a friends to lovers trope, and it just sounds like it'll be a super cute read, and I definitely cannot wait to read this soon. Then the last and final book that I'm really excited for April is Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. I'm hoping I pronounced her name correctly. This one's out on April 28th. So from what I remember, this book is all about this rebellion. There is also a secret undercover mission, and it follows a girl who has the ability to steal memories, and I believe that magical ability is one of the rarest magic out there. And this book just sounds super intriguing, and the cover is also absolutely stunning, so I am very excited for this one. Now moving on to May. In May I have a ton of books that I had a really hard time narrowing down. This was after narrowing it down too, and I still have a ton of books on here. I just think that May is the month apparently for a lot of books to come out, like a lot of exciting books to come out. So the first one is Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This one's out on May 5th, and this is of course the sequel to Aurora Rising, which I love. It was such a good book. It's one of those crew of friends sci-fi novel, and it talks about this war that has been spanning for millennia, and it's just so fascinating, and I love the first book, so I am really excited for the second. And the cover for the second book features one of my favorite characters, so I am just so excited for this book, guys. Then this next book is The Betrothed by Kiera Cass. This one is also out on May 5th. This one I actually don't know too much about, to be honest, but I really enjoyed the Selection series that I read way back when. So when I saw that she had another book coming out, I was already like, I am so here for this, and she's basically a must-read author, so I'm just really excited. Then this next book is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. This was also out on May 5th. So this one I'm really excited because I have read all of her books already. She has 2 books out, and this is her 3rd one, and both of her previous books have been fantastic. I loved all of them, so I'm really excited for this one because this one's also written in verse, which is how it was like for her debut book, and so I'm just really excited for it. And I believe this book follows 2 teenagers who share a father, but they don't actually know about each other. But one day their father actually dies in a plane crash, and just when they think that they lost everything about their father, they find out about each other. So I'm assuming that this book talks a lot about sisterly bond, like family loss, etc., and it just sounds really good. Like all of her books so far have been really family oriented, which I really like actually, so I just have really high hopes for this one. Then this next book is House of Dragons by Jessica Cluess. This one's out on May 12th. So this book is a YA fantasy, and the emperor had just passed away, and usually the 5 royal houses will compete for the Trial of the Dragon Throne, but for whatever reason this time around things are different, and 5 outcasts have actually come and answered this call. So the question really is, who will win? And it just sounds so fascinating because I just want to know what happened to the 5 royal houses and why they are not the ones answering the call, and why there are these 5 outcasts who have come to claim the throne. So it just sounds like a lot of political intrigue, a lot of mystery, a lot of adventure and action, and I am so here for that. Okay, then this next book that I'm excited for is one that I think is just a comeback from the 90s or the 2000s, something like that. I feel super old just saying that, but yeah, this book has been out for a very long time, or the series have been out for a very long time, and there's now going to be a prequel, and that prequel is Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This one is out on May 19th. I'm just super intrigued by why there's a prequel now, and just kind of fall back into the Hunger Games world, because I feel like that world, for me at least, was a very long time ago, and to kind of just go back to that just it's kind of nostalgic in a way, I want to say. So I'm just really excited for that. Okay, then this next book is one that I am like super intrigued by because it just sounds like such a fun read, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This one is also out on May 19th. So this book follows 2 authors who are extremely different in what they write. One of them writes a lot of happily ever after endings, and the other one writes a lot of literary fiction where all the main characters die, etc. And so they have nothing in common except for the fact that one day they end up as neighbors at their beach houses where they're also broke, and I guess one day a deal is struck and the 2 of them decide to swap their roles in terms of what they're writing. So one of them will now try for the next A Great American Novel, and the other one will try for a love story, a happily ever after story. And as the book progresses, the 2 of them will definitely not fall in love. So I'm just super intrigued by that, and it just sounds like such a fun and cute read. Then this last and final book that I'm really excited for that's coming out in May is The Gilded Ones by Nomina Forna, and this one is out on May 26th. So this book follows a girl who is about to undergo a blood ceremony where she hopes that her blood will run red when she's finally not shunned or not treated as an outcast. But unfortunately for her though, she undergoes a blood ceremony and turns out that her blood is gold, which is actually the color of impurity. And just before she's about to face some terrible consequences, she is saved by a woman and finds out that she is actually a near immortal and have these gifts to save the empire. So I'm just really excited for this one, plus the cover is absolutely stunning, so I definitely cannot wait to read this. Now moving on to the June books. The first one that I am super excited for is Where Dreams Descend by Janelle Angelis. This one's out on June 2nd, and this one, all I know is that it is Phantom of the Opera meets Moulin Rouge, and that's really all I need to know or want to know. Then this next book is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This one is out on June 2nd, and this book follows 2 characters. One is the crown princess who needs the beating heart of a king to resurrect her mother using an ancient spell, and the other character is a refugee who needs to kill the crown princess to save his sister. So obviously their lives will collide, and of course as a young adult fantasy there will be love at the end, and I'm super excited and intrigued to find out what will happen. Then this next book is Sisters of Sword and Song by Rebecca Ross. This one is out on June 23rd, and honestly I'm just excited for this book because Rebecca Ross is a must-read author for me. It's about a sister who is willing to sacrifice herself and willing to serve her sister's sentence, and finding out that there are fates worse than death. So this book would definitely follow a lot of sisterly bond, and I'm super intrigued by that. Then this last and final book that I'm super excited for in June is Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee, and this one is also out on June 23rd. So this book follows a girl who has spent many years training to be the next royal spy, but one day something happens, specifically something happens to her best friend, and she finds herself being able to resurrect him from the dead, which means that she finds out that she is a soul guide and is then summoned to the Spider King's domain to help tame the trees that are possessed by souls. So honestly this concept just sounds so intriguing to me, because the fact that these trees are possessed by souls and the fact that she is the only one who can tame them because she is a soul guide, there's just a lot of intrigue going on, and I'm just really excited for it. Not to mention the cover is absolutely stunning, so that's also a plus there. But anyways, that is it in terms of my most anticipated releases for April, May, and June. There's a lot of books out there that are not on this list as well, but these are probably my top favorites, and I'm just really excited to read them and get my hands on them as soon as possible. But anyways, that's all to say for this video. Let me know down below which books are you most excited for that's coming out in the next 3 months. Are any of them on this list? Is there one that I didn't mention that I should probably be aware of? Let me know down below. But as always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.